Let's see, does it work? Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places, you're off and away. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the one who will decide where to go. You'll walk up and down streets, look them over with care. About some you will say, I don't choose to go there. And with your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down some not so good street. You may not find any you choose to go down. And in that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town. It's opener there, in the wide open air. Out there, things can happen and frequently do to people as brainy and footsy as you. And when things start to happen, don't worry, don't stew. Just go right along. You'll start happening too. Oh, the places you'll go. I thought this would be an appropriate place to start our journey today. If you haven't heard of Burning Man, I don't know where you've been spending your time in this lifetime, but it's a thing, and if you ever wanted to experience it from the comfort of your own chair in your own home, you can go on YouTube and look up "Oh, the Places You'll Go, Burning Man," and it's phenomenal. It gives you a sense of the entire experience told through the Dr. Seuss classic, which is still topping bestseller lists to this day. There is a little bit of nudity in it, so, you know, not safe for work maybe, but you might enjoy it. And I did think that this would be an appropriate jumping off point for what we're going to talk about today, which is nomad. But additionally, we have a little bit of a definition. So I went looking to see, like, oh, do I fit? I mean, I kind of think that I fit. Am I a migrant, a hobo, a roamer, a bum, a stray? Maybe. Am I a vagabond, a wanderer, a rambler, a wayfarer? Probably. But I'm definitely a voyager, a traveler, an explorer, and a pilgrim. And I really loved this particular definition of pilgrim because I think that it, for me, evokes a much more authentic sense of actually what I'm doing when I'm traveling. So primarily a traveler on a journey to a holy place or shrine. The term can also extend to those who travel for moral or spiritual growth, even if the destination isn't a traditional holy site. There are some people who would say that Burning Man is a traditional holy site. I think those people could probably fit in this room, and so there's a lot of other people who wouldn't. So, you know, we're traveling. You guys ready to go on a journey? Yes. Okay, we're going to start right here in Del Rey because I just want to say I'm so ridiculously happy to be here right now with all of you physically in this space. Space of Mind and the hub of Space of Mind is such an incredible resource, and I think my life would have changed a lot if it had been around a few years before it arrived. But big kudos to Allie and the whole team. And like shout out and love to Allie, who is the executive director of this organization, who could not be here today, but we love her. Thank you, Allie. Everybody, thank you, Allie. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, Allie.
Awesome. But also physically right here, this spot is a focus point for the inception of all of my creative and professional journeys. When I was a teenager, I was working for an organization that moved here into the building that is now Pure Life. It's called Palm Beach Photographic Center. It doesn't exist anymore. But when it did, I started working for them when I was 14 years old and was providing technical assistance for their digital imaging workshops and learning all of these incredible digital photography techniques before they arrived on the market. This was back in 1995. So. But also, right across the street, catty corner from where we are, is Dada, which is such an amazing organization and company, and also was a jumping off point for me in exploring performance poetry slam, and also it's where I held my first ever fire dancing jam. So that's wild. And then the Milagro Center, which is an arts enrichment after-school program for at-risk youth that's based here in Delray Beach. Basically, any creative person who has spent time in Delray Beach has spent time with the Milagro Center. I am no exception. I was program director for the Milagro Center. It was my first job in the after-school world, and it's amazing. So I have tremendous love for Delray. They are having a promotion this summer to love up the city, and I just wanted to acknowledge that as the inception point for our journey today. And here we go. First stop, postcards from the Education Revolution. So I used to be a high school teacher, and I really loved it. But I also found myself really kind of caged in by the traditional school setting, and I wanted to see what else was out there, and I thought maybe I wanted to start a school. And I didn't know how to do that. This is kind of a theme today. I want to do a thing. I don't know how to do that. Maybe I should go out and see what else is happening. So I took myself on a journey, cobbled together. During that journey, I visited 14 different schools and centers across North America, including all of these. I'm not going to read them all, but basically, you know, from Tampa to Gainesville to upstate New York, out to Vancouver, down to Colorado, over to Portland, and then Providence. And then in addition to those schools and centers that I was doing research and how do you function and how do you pay your staff and what's happening with the students that are leaving your space, you know, like where do they end up, where do they go? I also was attending different conferences, events, and then I also started a master's degree program during this time. And so I was traveling, you know, was getting a sense. What's happening? What do I want to bring back to my own community? And if I wanted to start a school, how would I do that? I really thought I wanted to start a school. I really did. And then, actually pretty early on in the journey, I attended a talk. It was at the Alternative Education Resource Organization annual conference, which at the time was in upstate New York. And the talk was by this guy, Matt Hearn. He is a University of British Columbia urban studies professor who was instrumental in creating an unschooling space that's youth-run. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was called the Purple Thistle Center. It was in the East Commercial Drive district of Vancouver, and it was absolutely fascinating to me. I did get to go there on my journey, but before I got there, I attended this talk, and one of the things that he said was this: even the best schools are just warehouses for youth that keep them separate from being active stakeholders in their own communities. And, right? I was like, I don't think I want to create another one of those. There are plenty of those, and there are plenty of great people who are creating those, and I really don't want to take away from that work, but I also don't want to add to it. So that left me in a bit of a quandary, right? And actually, I went to this event and I heard this talk in June of 2018, which was just at the start of my journey. So right at the beginning, I was thrown into indecision, questioning, confusion. What do I really want to be doing here? Here on planet Earth. What do I really want to be doing here? But I also had other projects that I was up to. So the second stop on our journey is the Poetry Slam pilgrimage. So I spent some time in the world of Poetry Slam, starting actually in 2002, but I attended my first National Poetry Slam in 2003, and I heard such amazing work there, and then started to collect some of that work throughout the years. So I'm actually going to cover a poem, if it's all right with you guys. Yeah. I'm going to request a little accompaniment from Ian. Ian is going to be debuting a live guitar performance, and we are co-creating this moment right now for you guys. So big ups to Ian for the bravery of being even like, would you like this? And being open to me saying, yeah, I would like that. So the poem that I'm going to be covering is Traveling by Andrea Gibson. Andrea Gibson was the Poet Laureate of Colorado, among many titles that they accumulated in their life. They passed away a little while ago. You may have heard about it. I know it's kind of a downer, but we're going to go with it because they did create so much joy in their life, and that joy deserves to live on. So we're going to honor that now. And I also thought this poem was appropriate. I want to say one more thing about this particular poem before I perform it. I did speak with Andrea Gibson a long time ago and let them know that I would be covering these poems, these two particular poems. This one, and then there's another poem of theirs that I do. And they were like, I don't even remember that poem. And as I was getting ready for this talk, I actually went looking for it. I was like, maybe my memory's wrong. Maybe this isn't an Andrea Gibson. I don't know. I went looking for it. So this poem was part of a recording that was produced and distributed around 2004, 2005, and it really doesn't exist anymore. And the poem has not been re-released. So if I mess it up, you'll never know. So this is Traveling by Andrea Gibson. The Sufi poet Hafiz once wrote, "On the other side of the world, the oceans are upside down." And I trust Hafiz enough to know he would never lie. So now I know on the other side of the world, the fish are falling into the sky as whales like clouds pass by. And I'd be willing to bet the face of the moon has got to get at least a little bit wet every time the tides rise after sunset. I picture her wiping sea salt from her eyes, and when it dries, it falls like snow on sunrise. And there I go, talking like I've been there. When all I'm really knowing is what Hafiz wrote in his poem, still, I won't believe that I've been traveling on a boat of only imagination. Because if words are sound, and sound is vibration, a single syllable can bellow the life of 1,000 ancient cellos inside you. Till every poem becomes a door to another side of the world you've never been before. So all the sights you think you're missing, just open up your ears and listen. And on days I listen well, whole worlds move inside me. It's like I'm telling every poet, you're my tour guide, guide me. And you should hear the places I've been, the places I've cried and prayed and died in. I've been born and reborn and born again, treading water in the too late tears of sons and daughters, bearing the bones of fathers they thought for sure they never cared for. I've hung from the rhymes of telephone lines as young mothers call their mothers at home asking, how am I going to raise this baby alone? I've wept in the pauses of love poems. I've crept in the claws of hate poems. I've been the rapist. I've been the raped. I've been pretty. I've been straight. I've worn chicken wire. I've worn lace. And I've learned the only difference between grace and hell is who were you praying for when you fell? Were you praying for your family? Or were you praying for yourself? I've been the belt in the husband's hand. I was the gun in the hand of his wife. I'm not in the mood for yours tonight. I've grown old with teenagers, grown young with grandmothers. I've heard hymns sung from switchblades in the pockets of women walking home alone. I was that boy declaring war against the razor blades in his own, his poems building bomb shelters for my wrists. He kissed my death wish goodbye. I've learned to cry from beauty and learned to do more than cry from pain. I followed a brown man through the land of the free and heard its chains, followed a black woman through the home of the brave and heard its slaves. And from rhymes and picket lines of si se puede to the sweatshops of Haiti, I'll never wear my white skin the same. Every poem I hear, I can feel my life change. I've been Saul, becoming Paul, a disciple of the light that falls from untied tongues, then hung like the sun from the ceiling above hospital beds where kneeling mothers pray in the temples of their children's fevered heads. I've been crack pipes and fist fights and the nights we chose beautiful instead. I was a 20-year-old soldier, growing 20 years older every hour. I was his 5-year-old brother, wondering why my mother is so afraid of the mailbox. but I've also seen rainbows in teardrops. I've also placed flower pots on the windowsills of Wall Street. I've also heard hearts beat through scars that became lifelines for revolutions. And sometimes, my life has been changed by just one line that hit me right here. And I've been there more than one time. Got stretch marks on my conscience to prove it. I've got birthmarks on my bones from poems I was born in. And I've been sworn into courts I would have otherwise known nothing of, and learned love is defending the truth before a jury, a country that would rather hear lies. And in the beginning was the Word, but the Word was nothing till it was heard. So all the sights you think you're missing, just open up your ears and listen. One note also, Andrea Gibson was the subject of a documentary in the last years of their life with their partner, Megan. That documentary is called Come See Me in the Good Light. It won the Audience Award at Sundance last year, and it will be on Apple TV streaming in the fall. So if you want more Andrea Gibson in your life, and who doesn't, you might want to check out this amazing award-winning documentary, Come See Me in the Good Light. So that was one of many poems that I've been able to collect over the years that I spent in the world of Poetry Slam, and I mean years. So this is actually what I'm talking about. From 2003 to 2011, I attended at least one national competition every year, sometimes against my better judgment, sometimes under duress, but I still went. In 2003, from 2003 to 2004, I was really just kind of like, what is this thing called Poetry Slam? And this is really cool that I can get up and do it, and anybody can do it. This is great. And I got to explore some cities that were very new to me, Chicago and St. Louis particularly, but I was just competing. I started coaching the team in 2004, but I didn't really know what I was doing until 2005. And we really started to make some things happen. In 2005, the Delray Beach Poetry Slam from Dada made it to the semifinals and tied with Oakland, California in our semifinal bout. Not too shabby. So I guess I was learning what to do. And then in 2006 in Austin, it says that I competed, but technically I only competed in one event, which was a side event. They had all the people that run slams come together and compete against each other. It was the Slam Masters Slam. They did this every year, and I had never competed before. I became the Slam Master back in 2003, but I had never competed in the Slam Masters Slam until 2006, and I won it. And that was pretty wild. It was super fun. And then I got to experiment a little bit with the world of youth poetry slam. So Brave New Voices was a national poetry slam for young people, teenagers. I think it was 12 or 13 to 18. And in 2007, I coached the team from Fort Lauderdale. In 2008, I coached, but mostly chaperoned, a team that had been put together in West Palm Beach. The 2008 Brave New Voices was filmed by HBO and released as Russell Simmons Presents Deaf Poetry, Brave New Voices, or something like that. And there was this little clip of me being ridiculous and being like, I haven't seen you in so long, you know, on HBO. So that was fun. Something that wasn't shown on HBO was at the end of that tournament, there was a discrepancy in the scores. I think the two highest ranking teams had actually tied, and the producers of the show were like, we need one winner. And the kids were like, absolutely not. And they took over the theater, they took over the stage. This is the sign for like, I'm not into what you're asking me to do right now. And all of the kids had their arms up and like flooded the stage. Like, you can't tell us how to compete with each other. And that was a really awesome moment. That was not aired on HBO. There were a lot of incredible moments during these events that, you know, they live in my memory and a few other places. And the National Poetry Slam actually doesn't exist anymore. There are still events and competitions. Most of them are regional. There's something down here that happens every year called the Southern Fried Regional Poetry Slam. That's been happening for a long time. The grand prize, I think, is RC Cola and moon pies. And there's a little bit of money, but like really it's the moon pies. But in 2009, the National Poetry Slam came here to this area, to West Palm Beach. And at that point, I started to get involved in the behind-the-scenes production. And I'd had a little bit of experience in event production by then. There used to be an international photography festival that happened here in Delray Beach called Photo Fusion, run by Palm Beach Photographic Center. I'd get pulled out of school every year for a week to come and help run the digital lab for that festival, but I got really into it. And then, of course, Sunfest. I spent 6 years working in central inventory for Sunfest. All the booze and all the screws came from us. And I really like the energy of a festival. And of course, I loved the National Poetry Slam. So when it came to West Palm Beach, I was actually asked to step in and serve a role, which was the volunteer coordinator. So all of the National Poetry Slam events, as well as the individual World Poetry Slam and the Women of the World Poetry Slam, all of them were produced by the same organization, Poetry Slam Incorporated. They're all volunteer run, all of them. And when I stepped up to the role in West Palm Beach, it seemed easy. I live here, you know, most of the time, when I'm not traveling. So I thought I could try my hand at it. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed walking into a room of 200 people and telling them what to do. And that was really great. And so I decided to stick with it for the next couple of years. These are just 3 of the particular events that I served that role for. But once I moved out of my local space with this particular task, then I really started to earn my superhero bona fides. So being the volunteer coordinator meant showing up in a city you've never been to before, and the next day orchestrating an event with let's say, 500 poets from all around the world that consisted of 9 different preliminary bout venues, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, that had 2 bouts each night, which meant 2 different volunteer crews to MC, to bout manage, to keep score, to keep time, and to sell merch. So I had to figure out, like, how am I going to do this? Like, physically, how do I do this thing? I've never been here before. I don't know what the public transit situation is like. But I had a little bit of training into, like, how to show up and get things done from my adventures into education. So I started to figure it out pretty quickly. I learned, for example, in Cambridge, that the last one that I did, 2011 in Cambridge, it was both in Cambridge and Boston. So I rented a bike, and I had my little backpack, and I had my little helmet, and I'm like biking across, you know, the river to get to every single preliminary bout venue in time to count out the door, count out the merch cash, make sure the volunteers had all signed up and were oriented. Anyway, it was great. And I learned a ton, and I figured, you know, there's this other community of artists that I could serve in a different way with these skills. So then I started FlowFests. So FlowFest started, welcome to the circus. FlowFest started in 2011. This is just like a little visual of what my brain is like. This is my brain on flow, if you will. Some of the fun things that are in here you might not be able to read are something beautiful is about to happen. Side effects may include pleasant music playing quietly in the head. We should build our own. Again, I didn't know how to do this, but I started to figure it out. So in 2011, this was the very first Florida Flow Fest. It happened in Lake Worth in Bryant Park. And these are a couple of moments from that festival. And then it started to grow. So I'm actually going to play a little video while I talk about what a Flow Fest is. And this video, if it plays, thank you, Colleen. We can do it. We have the technology, you guys. So, yeah. I know. You're doing great. Try again. Try again. One more time. Yeah! That's good enough. Let it be. Ah, look at that. So, Flow Fests are festivals of play, circus arts, dance, and yoga. We offer workshops all day long, and they are free to attend. This, by the way, is an original track by a local musician, Janine, and if you don't know about her, come and ask me. I would love to connect you with her music. And this is about Traveling Loves is the name of this song in Spanish. So this video is this is from 2023. These were all of the Flow Fest events that happened that year. So we started here in South Florida and then decided to grow. People were reaching out to me from different cities saying, why isn't there something like this by me? I want something like this by me. And I was like, well, I don't know how to do that, but I guess I'll figure it out. In this video, we did, in 2023, we did 4 cities. Cities that we have held Flow Fests in that are not featured in this video from 2023 include Asheville, North Carolina, San Diego, Dallas, Austin. I think that's about it. So we started traveling, meeting new artists and new communities. And actually, Barbara, who is here, came and taught at our festival in Seattle, the first year that we did it there in 2016. So that festival continues to grow. This footage is from Chicago, which is actually coming up August 30th. So, I mean, honestly, for me, anytime I travel, and maybe this is true for you as well, I learned so much about myself, I learned so much about the community, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to get to see different ways of living, different ways of creating art, and different ways of building community. Creative Mornings is all about that, so it's a super honor that I get to be here to present today about life as a nomad. And if you're not out there, get out there. I mean, like, really, if there's one message that I would really love to impart, you have nothing to lose. It's not actually that scary. I've done all these crazy, scary things. You don't have to be like me. You can have a really great experience opening yourself up to something new and seeing what you learn in the process. I am going to let this play out. There's not that much time left of it anyway. But just to say, Flow Fests continue to grow. This year we are in 5 cities. So that's Fort Lauderdale back in January, Dallas in April, Seattle back in June, and then next week in Denver, we're holding our first Flow Fest Denver, and then at the end of the month, we have Flow Fest Chicago. All of the names of the fests have changed, so they used to be regional or state names, and now they are very specific to the city that they happen in, because they happen in cities and people need to know that. It's one of the things that sets Flow Fest apart from other gatherings of flow artists. So this was this year in Fort Lauderdale. This was this year in Dallas. It was the coldest Flow Fest I've ever done. It didn't get above 46 degrees all day long. And these are the people that stayed all day. So like big ups to them. You can see we're all wearing like so much clothing. It's really hard actually to move around in that much clothing. Flow Fest Seattle, that happened earlier this year. So these are all the Flow Fests for this year. The theme this year is Whimsy. And there are wristbands around that have the Whimsy brand. Those are from this year. And I think right before I'm done, I'm very, very close to being done, I'd like to invite you guys to do a little experiment. Somebody asked me if we would be hula hooping today, which is how I got into flow arts. And there's really not enough space in here. You'll also notice that there are no hula hoops here. However, that never stopped me before. So you all have a ring somewhere around you. You have one of those wristbands. If you feel like it, grab a wristband. I'm going to teach you how to hula hoop right now with this wristband, okay? On your finger, all right? So, actually, will you come up and be my demonstration? You're doing such a great job. So one thing to note, hold up your finger, All right, this ring and this finger, you see how much more space there is in this ring, right? If I put it around her finger, can we go that way? Can we tilt? Yeah, that way? Awesome. You see how much space is there? It's a lot of space. You want to have a hula hoop with enough space so that you're basically replicating this ratio, okay? The amount of space inside the ring matters a lot. A small ring, you're not going to be able to get much movement. There's not enough space in there for you to move around in time to keep it rotating, okay? Now, if you put your finger upright and start it, and then just give it a little back and forth. Just a little back and forth. Woo! If they go flying, you can say surprise. It's a gentle back and forth motion. That's what actually keeps it rotating. It's not spinning it around in a circle. It's oscillating back and forth, okay? It's like this. Once you get the momentum, yeah. So now just transfer that knowledge to your waistline and you've got it. I mean, it seems ridiculous that it would be that simple, but it really is that simple. You want to have a big enough hoop that you've got space to move around. Okay, next year, we are going to be in 7 cities. So we're launching Indianapolis and we're also launching Philadelphia next year. I'm very excited. And we'll be back in Fort Lauderdale in January 18th. Last thing before I'm completely and utterly done. When I was studying contemplative education at Naropa University, my meditation advisor, his wife, who is a lineage holder in the Shambhala Buddhism tradition, created this dedication of merit. I really like it. I'm going to share it with you. May the benefit of our journey together extend to all beings everywhere and in some way relieve their anxiety, loneliness, and depression. May we develop the bravery to commit to wakefulness, bear witness to anguish, and enjoy our lives. And with that, I say thank you, Creative Mornings.